Kristin and Øyvind from Stedskaping is going to talk about digital participation. And with no further ado, here they are.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Very happy to be here. We will talk a bit about what we've been doing for the last couple of years regarding citizen engagement. We've been doing a lot, both succeeded and failed quite spectacularly, but we've learned a lot. So we'll try to communicate some of that at learning, and hopefully we'll also get some interesting questions. And yeah, looking forward to the conversation. Maybe you can kick us off with citizen engagement.
Yes. Okay, so should I use this to switch? Yeah. Yeah. So my name is Kristin Ness. I am actually educated as an architect, and I usually share that information because we're used to shape our physical environment. And that's something that we involve people quite a lot into, and people have a lot of opinions, and people are engaging quite a lot into it. And when I studied a lot of years ago, I was quite frustrated with the programs because none of the teachers were considering what the citizens in the area wanted out of the project that we were to design. So I started digging into it, and now a lot of years later, I'm still working on that specific topic, and we're still learning and engaging how to actually do this in the sense that connects citizens closer to the actual decisions that are being made, and for instance, the buildings and the environments that's being created. So we are representing something called, I would say it's kind of a small innovation lab. We have been researching different kind of ways to use digital tools and digital solutions to support these practices for some years now, both in the public sector and in the private sector. So if I'm able to switch. So why are we focusing on the citizens and the citizen participation part of development? I want to start with what's maybe one of the biggest dilemmas that we have, how we connect the large systemic challenges and still focus on what's good for you and the quality of life that we want. And when you think about 8 billion people, that everyone has their own needs, it's becoming quite a complex matter. And for you as a person, what you feel most closely to. I'm sorry for looking at a lot because it's so many screens here, so I'm trying to figure out where to look because you guys are sitting here and I have this screen and this. So I'm sorry, everyone. I'm going to address the people in the room as well, so you know why I'm moving so much around. So for me as a person, what I feel like what I'm closest to is my environment, right? So that means that I care about what's affecting my family. I care about what's affecting my neighborhood. If something happened in my street, I would care quite a lot about it. It will affect my daily life and what I'm doing every day. And that's the perspective of most citizens, that we engage into the cases. Like, for instance, the Norwegian news headline about a new school. They're asking whether the citizens are being heard. And that's something that a lot of people care about because it's their kids. It's where it's affecting their daily life. So when we start talking about these large issues and these large systemic factors like large climate plans, it might be quite far away from your daily life. So that means that we need to bridge that conversation. when we do citizen engagement. And when it comes to citizen engagement, the municipality has a lot of different roles. So that means that as a municipality, you are some of the people working in the municipality, they are actually the authority. They're part of deciding what's being built or what's being put into the world. They are deciding, so they are kind of saying yes and no together with the politicians. But then the municipality also have the role as a democratic arena. And then you have the guys that's actually service development. That's providing and developing the services that people are getting every day. That's another role, and you're meeting people in a different way. And then you also have a lot of people that's more on the societal development side. For instance, working with the businesses in the city. So you're not saying yes or no, you're kind of helping them develop. So it's quite a lot of different roles. That means that the municipality has a lot of different reasons to involve citizens. So some of the participatory processes we do because we want to build trust around the situation. So that's the main focus, that's the main purpose. We want to build trust and ownership and get people on board with whatever we're trying to develop. And sometimes we involve because we want to determine if the choices we are suggesting are in line with people's wishes and needs. So that's more of digging into what you actually need. You don't need to like feel a lot of ownership to it. You just need to understand what's your what's the need in this situation. And sometimes we do it because we want to mobilize resources. We want to engage people outside of our own organization. So we kind of want to get more resources going. That's also a reason why we do this, or we want to gather more knowledge on a overall level. So we have a lot of different reasons why we involve citizens and why we do citizen engagement. We also have the fact that there's some of the participatory processes that's formal. That means it's bound by law. You have to do it. And then we have a lot of processes that you don't have to do, but you should do it, or you could do it. So we can move all the way from one side where the municipality is in the driving seat. That means that they're running the process, they're running everything, they're kind of in control. And then on the other side, you have a citizen or a group or someone that's engaging that have something they want to do. And they go to the municipality and they say, hey, we want to do this. Then the municipality is kind of not the owner. Then you're more of a facilitator. That means that you are someone that's supporting someone else that's being in the driver's seat. And then in the middle here, we have this fuzzy thing that we call co-creation processes, where you're kind of not sure who's in charge. Sometimes it's the municipality, sometimes it's the developer, sometimes it's an organization or someone else. But we call it co-creation because we're kind of on the same page, like we're kind of on the same level in terms of who's in the driver's seat. So having this in mind, we're just gonna give you some examples just to. So 3 people. This guy, we call him Gunnar. It's a Norwegian name. He's asked to share some insights about his everyday life. So the tool he uses, or the tool someone uses here, is a digital survey. That's the incentive that Gunnar has to engage in this is connected to whether he finds it useful, right, to answer this digital survey. Why should I do that? It might be that he's on his way to work and it's about the street or the way he's using, for instance. Then it might be quite an incentive for him to involve and get involved and answer the digital survey because it's about something he cares about. But it might not be, and he might just not answer because it's not relevant for him. So that's Gunnar. And then we have Ines. Ines is at school and she's working on a local community project that they have that the teacher is running. So her incentive to do it and be part of this and engage in it might be that it's fun. It might be that the kids hope that it's going to be something. So their incentive, it might be good grades, of course, but the incentive to join and do it and share what their experiences are and give all the knowledge that the people part of it want is kind of connected to whether this feels meaningful, right? And I bet she hopes that this will be built or this will be something. And then we have Janet, and she said yes to be part of this co-creation process to develop a master plan for the municipality. And she's on the citizen panel. That takes quite a lot of time. And her incentive might be that she feels that it could make a difference, that she's important, that what she says is someone is going to listen to her opinions, and it's going to be used for something useful. So, and this is real cases, so I know what her, like, she's a real person. That means that I know, because I've interviewed her, and I know that her incentive to join was that it felt important. It felt that she would make a difference. So she invested her time because it felt important. So we have, to sum it up, we have a lot of different reasons for joining in, and the municipality has a lot of reasons for involving. So that means that when we are to do this in meaningful, fruitful, system-oriented ways, we need to be mindful about both what the municipality is doing, but also the citizens. And it's kind of an ecosystem and a connective, yeah. And we have a lot of guides on how to work with citizen engagement. This is one example. It's in Norwegian. It's been developed. We developed it together with a lot of different municipalities, and it's focused on participatory methods in one process. So we have a lot of material on this, how to do it in one session, in one process. But then how about when we're going to connect a lot of different processes, because we're doing a lot of engagement all the time. So that means that we aren't just to do this in a good way once. We have to do it in a good way a lot of different times, and we need to have the resources to actually do it well every time. And with limited resources, that means that we need to be smarter on how we do it to protect it. So then I'm going to give the word over to Eivind.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So I really like this slide because I think it's very true, and I think it's something that we often forget when we talk about how cities and communities develop. One of the problems is that they run into this. In the last presentation, Jake talked a lot about friction. If you want to engage someone, don't create too much friction. I can't imagine a better way to create friction towards citizens than to have some boxes that don't include them. You kind of start off the wrong way to begin with. At the same time, this is what makes cities work. This is the municipal plan and governance system. This is showing how cities are meant to happen in a local democracy, where politicians decide on plans and priorities, and it's followed through by the administration. And then you have cycles on a yearly basis and 4 years and 12 years and so on. So if all the ways of doing citizen engagement, if we really want that to matter, we need to find some way to connect it to the big operating system of cities. At least that's what we think. In Trondheim, where I also work, we have a lot of plans that we like to show to the citizens. And then at the bottom, we have this. Did you find what you were looking for? So when we as a city administration go out to citizens and say, we really want to talk to you, your opinion matter. We have all these plans and things we're trying to do. Well, how are you supposed to engage with this? You probably scroll right down to the bottom and click no. Congratulations, you've been engaged with the city. So we need to find ways of doing citizen engagement in a way that is both meaningful for people and that they actually contribute and we take their opinion seriously. And we want to link it to the operating systems and the way cities work. If not, I will say, at least from a municipality perspective, we're not really doing citizen engagement. The good thing is, this system is the same for all Norwegian municipalities. In other countries, they have similar systems, but they do have systems and they're there for a reason. So we've been spending a lot of time, both in Stedskaping and in previous jobs, to figure out how you both can work well with citizen engagement on a citizen level and also integrate it into a bigger system. One of the key aspects is to figure out how you can go from doing simple single projects well to doing citizen engagement at scale. That's two quite different tasks. Because when you do citizen engagement, it takes a lot of resources. And we know that cities have less and less money in their budgets. And as Kristen said, a lot of the citizen engagement tasks are not obliged by law. So we need to find space to actually do it well, efficient, increase the local democracy, basically. For, I think, 3 or 4 years, we've been working with cities across Norway to sort out these things, figuring out what are the challenges you're facing in your city, what are you trying to solve, how can we help you, and how can we learn from you. So gradually over the years, we've been more and more wiser, hopefully, to figure out how we can integrate good citizen engagement practices into the municipality in a way that's scalable and that works. It's a bit extreme, but still. I don't care which God you believe in or if you believe in a God, but when I entered into the citizen engagement domain, for some reason, it seemed to me that all the citizens wanted meeting places. And I really couldn't understand why. Are all people lonely? Is it the way we ask, or is it about the people who interpret the answers? But a lot of the same answers came out of a lot of different processes. And remember, at any given time, there's probably 10, maybe 20 citizen engagement processes going on in a city. But a lot of the people doing citizen engagement processes couldn't really account for why they came up with the answers they did. So what we tried to do was at least create an open process so we can show what the citizens said, how we interpreted it and why, and then show the result. Because if not, you don't really know if this is an honest process. So you need to do this with some kind of integrity. And in addition to having data, you need to be a bit mindful with how you use it and how you create narratives. Especially these days, I think you can come up with any given conclusion based on whatever data you have. It's kind of hard to argue against because you do have the data. But as long as you point to data and tell a story, you're good. And evidence-based. So we need ways of both gathering data and showing how we use it, how we model it. And you also need platforms like this. You need platforms that are both built for citizens, so it's easy to engage with. You can follow a process. You understand what's happening and what the cities care about, maybe a bit better than the slide I showed a bit earlier. And you also need on the back end processes for people working in the municipality or have some kind of facilitator position to be able to follow through with the process. And of course, the last couple of years, you have this thing, whatever it is. There's so much potential in AI, but there are also a lot of pitfalls. There's a lot of ways you can use this when it comes to citizen engagement, both as to do analysis. It's really a good tool for kind of interpreting a lot of data. But of course, then you have this question, back to what I said earlier, how does it come to this conclusion? And we've done a lot of examples, exercises, trying to see how this can fit. And we do see that, yeah, it probably has some biases. The thing is, when you do the same thing, when you see processes where people have done analysis, it's worse. But it's back to trust, really. So from my point of view, it's as long as you're open with what you're doing, showing the steps, so you're not just asking for input and magically come up with a conclusion, but you need to show the process, the steps in going from big project and a lot of input into conclusions. Yeah. So Kristen said something about different aspects of citizen engagement. I told you something about the systems that are in the municipality and some kind of tools we can use. So now we're on to the solutions, what we think we understand and the way we can solve this. We need to have a good interface between citizens and the big organizations. We used to use the word taxonomy. It's basically a fancy way of saying a way of sorting things. There's been a lot of great work on sorting data when it comes to social sustainability. KS in Norway have done great work on sorting indicators on sustainability. Upright, you have Scotland, which is working a lot of well-being, and same with New Zealand. So we've been trying to gather best practices and see how we can use this as an interface between what the citizens care about and what cities do. We believe that by putting this layer between citizen opinions and the bigger systems, we can be able to do citizen engagement at scale in a way that actually works. We're able to not just have single success projects, but we can actually do this well over time. We have a good experiences so far. We also created an insight database. And this is from one process in Trondheim. One process about the new societal plan, where we got over 3,000 inputs on the various of engagement activities. So this kind of showcases some of the things that's happening in a big citizen engagement process. And this is a way of clustering data so that it can both, like we have things like physical meetings. We have Decimat as a digital platform. we have interviews, we have our former CEO engaging with kids from the kindergarten. All of these things are important activities. And by having an insight database and using a taxonomy to sort things, we're able to extract meaning and interpret all the voices in a quite good way.
So what could this mean? We're going to give you a couple of cases, a couple of examples on how these different digital tools can be used to support different processes. And the first one is when the municipality is leading the way. I'm going to use Sandnes kommune as a case because they're one of the partners of Innocode right now, and they're in the middle of figuring out how digital participation works. And as Øyvind said, at any given time, a lot of participation is going on. And that was the case a couple of years ago also with Sandnes kommune. They wanted to create this new cultural plan for culture and businesses. There was a lot of different things they wondered about. They wanted to get the answer to what the businesses needed, what the culture actors needed, what the kids needed. And we said, yeah, but let's look at what you have first, because I bet that you've done a lot of participatory processes before. So that's what we did. This is together with a consultancy called Leva Urban Design. They used the taxonomy to sort the data to figure out where we had insights. So we fed everything we found into the database. Everything from the kids play games to the different questionnaires to meeting references like summaries. And we figured out that there was some groups where we had, as you can see in Norwegian, I'm sorry guys, we had some actors that we had a lot of insights connected to. Some we had and some we had none. So we could kind of see, okay, so we need to go to these groups. And we also used it to figure out what questions we needed to ask and what we didn't need to ask, because we already had asked them like the year before or something. So it's a way to be more efficient, to not ask twice, to be mindful about how you spend it, use the time of the citizens, because it's happening all the time that 1 month someone is hosting a workshop, and then 2 months later someone from another department is doing the exact thing, right? Because they didn't know. So that's what we tested in Sandnes. And we also used it to set up, to test a digital platform for them. So we also actually had a Decident test with this digital system that Øyvind was talking about. So we use these different digital support structures for different reasons, both for the actual involvement of people, where we got digital answers, but also to have people sign up for activities physical. And we used it for the insight management, and we used it for process management. So we used it in different ways. So all these different tools could help you with different parts of the processes. Another case is in Evanger that we followed in 2021, 2022. They finished up in 2022. And here, the municipality was the facilitator and the citizen were doing the project. Here, we tested using different digital support structures to support the development of local community projects. So we had a group, what in Norwegian you call a grendelag, someone that's keeping stuff happening in the rural areas. We were to develop an activity park, and the municipality was a partner in it. So we had both physical and digital participation, and what we did here was to give digital participatory tools to the citizen group. So the municipality didn't do it. We just provided them access to it. So they were able to do participation themselves. So this group did it with the rest. And our job in it was to help them handle the data. So we gave them access to tools, and we gave them access to ways to handle the data, so they didn't have to be an expert in interpreting or handling these kind of things. So the partnership between us and the municipality and the citizen were then kind of, okay, access to tools and ways to use these things, help to handle the data, and also help to do some evaluation. So with them, we didn't just use the tools for just like getting data, handling data. We also did it to do some micro evaluation, like micro impact evaluation. So, because this is kind of technical, right? This to connect these small actions that's happening in one local community project, connect that to indicators that the municipality might use. That's not like something that a regular citizen walks around and knows how to do, but we can provide some and use some technical tools to help them do it. So in this case, we use the same tools to different things, and made the citizen group focus on what they were supposed to focus on. That was actually doing the project and not spending time on everything else. And then we wanted to show you the last of the project that we've been spending a lot of time on. That's the different municipalities testing these systems for digital participation.
Yes, again, systems. But back to the fact that a lot of the processes look the same. A lot of the cities are struggling with the same problems. By using a platform like Desktop, you can set up processes and templates where you can connect the right people and actors at the right time, and everyone can follow the process all the way through. So we've been, I think, somewhere above 20 Norwegian municipalities and been testing out this way of working. And they all found it useful, but in different ways. But the fact is, you need something to discipline the process. If not, it's really hard to understand how the opinions lead to action. So we have set up a demo platform that everyone that's curious can use and see how things work. And I think for a lot of people, regardless of position or where they work or what part of the process they're into, just trying this out and see the success cases that's there and what others have done. And we will add more cases moving forward. But this is really useful to understand how you can kind of increase the capacity of doing this in your local community. You know this better than I do, but there are different, let's say, in this platform, it's rooms. Like there's different, sometimes you have processes that's quite strict. Other times you have more of a co-creation aspect, and then you have citizen initiatives. There's different processes and different ways of handling this, and you need a toolbox so you can pick out the tools you need in any given process. I think we're close to the finish. Some of the things we learned, even though I like systems and order and everything, I come from finance, so maybe that's why. You can't structure everything. you do need technology, but you need also a lot of capacity building and a lot of knowledge on how you do this. And the knowledge is often there. The problem is you don't only know how to use it well and how to use it for enough processes. And you also need to build organizational capacity. Anything you want to add?
So, this is based on at least it's based on an insight process with 20 municipalities testing the same tool and a lot of other municipalities joining around the discussion. So I think we spent maybe 2 years having these conversations about what we needed to be able to be good at digital participation. And that's why we're highlighting these things, because some groups in the municipality will focus a lot on the barriers connected to the regulatory stuff. So some would say that, yeah, but we're not able to do it because of how we buy solutions or the GDPR restrictions that we have, or how we collaborate across our sectors in our municipality. So for some municipalities, that's the hardest barrier to handle. For some, it's all about competence and to build a culture about actually doing these things together. If you have a culture where you do it project by project, you don't collaborate across sectors. You're not like using each other's competence. Like that was, for instance, that was like an eye-opener for me when I worked in a municipality, and I understood that the people I should talk to were the ones in the school sector, because they were so extremely good at doing citizen participation because they work with kids every time. So I was like, when I was asked to have this process on the municipal plan, we were, okay, so who should we recruit from the different parts of the municipality? And I was like, I want the school people. Because like we have different capacities, right? And in different parts of our municipality, if you want to discuss technology, you go to the IT department. If you want to discuss how to engage people, you go to the people that knows these things. And we need to use each other's capacities and competences. And that's what that's about, to start talking together. And the last part, of course, that the technology matters. It matters, for instance, that the interface is good. Of course it does. It matters that the language is good. It matters that it can handle data. So one of the most important things we did in this research and innovation project was to update the user interface, because the structure was good in this Decidem solution, but the interface wasn't like sleek, it was nice, it wasn't how we wanted it to be. But that was being developed by the different countries connected to it, and now it's sleek and nice, and now we can focus on the other parts of it. That's also important. So all of these dimensions are equally important, and it means that when we're working with digital participation, it affects all these different sectors in an organization. And we can also use these things to start talking together and understanding, like creating a common language. I think that's maybe the most important learning from it, to start having a common language around these things.
Could you say something about when should the municipality or the city start thinking about doing participation? Because you talked about these 12-year cycles and 4-year cycles. I had some experience working with you guys, and we talked to some municipalities, and it seems to start late in the process. So they have done a lot of work beforehand, and then they start to do participation, and then it's often too late, right? Because I have made up my mind, and why should I bother asking people about what they think? Because then all my work is kind of waste.
Yeah, I've been thinking the same thing.
You did?
Yeah.
Funny. But when should they actually start thinking about participation processes? I think it's like an obvious answer, but you could say something about it.
Yeah.
Please.
So to start with, realize that the people you're doing this for, it's not yourself. It's about the community, it's about the cities. And based on that, they need to be involved. So of course, the obvious answer is you need to at least think about involving them from the beginning. And then I guess it depends on the process when you actually do the involvement.
Yeah, sure. And the closer to the ground, the more connected to actors it will be. So that means that if it's a master plan, you might involve because it's useful to get different perspectives, because we need to be challenged. If we are sitting there in a team and only focusing on how we see the municipality from the inside, it will be really hard to create some goals that's meaningful for the society. So that's kind of the most important thing, that if we look at the challenges together, we will see more solutions, because it depends on the perspective that you have. So involving in a larger issue is all about getting different perspectives to the table, and that means that you need to do it in the beginning, because if you do it in the end, there's no use, because you've set your solution. So then it's more like, is it yes or no, and then you get to debate. But I would say that if it's connected to projects in a community, then it's more about the actors that might be directly involved in it. So it's just different. You do it in different ways, in different scales. So something might be about the perspectives, and it's like far away from our daily lives. And that's all about like getting all like understanding everything. And then if it's a building or a house or a street or a community activity park, then you might get so much more out of it if you involve the actors. And that means that you need to get their buy-in. And that means that you need to involve them before you've decided something, because it's not fun to join in at the end. It's fun to be part of it, right? So it's like, if you every time try to just, okay, so why should someone involve themselves in this?
So you need to actually mean it.
You mean you need to emphasize like
Empathy.
have empathy, yes. And if you have empathy, that like gets you quite far.
So we have a question from the room, Morten.
Yeah, if the mic is picking up my question, I guess it is. Introducing a digital platform like this, does it complicate the involvement process in the municipality, or does it kind of comes with some benefits? We know that municipalities, they have struggling with kind of the economy, and everything is kind of centered around efficiency and cost saving, or is this just an extra layer that complicates everything and make everything more expensive and harder for the people in the municipality? Or is there any
It's
is there upside? Yeah.
there's a huge upside. I would say it simplifies things. It may make things more efficient, and you're able to do citizen engagement processes with a lot less resources. The first step, though, is you realize how complicated it really is. Because this is one of those things that municipalities tend to spend a lot of time on, but it doesn't really show, like in the accounting books. So, but yeah, this is the whole reason we do this, really, at least a lot of the reason why I care. Because I really think this is something we should do well, care about, and succeed with. And if that's the ambition, then we need those kind of platforms.
But it's not efficient to introduce a system for one time, right? Because you need to learn how to use it, you need to learn how to collaborate. So that means that you need to invest in it. But if you invest in it, it will become more useful and give more back the longer you tend to use it. So that's at least my understanding of it, that if you're only to do it once, then it's going to take the same effort anyway. If you're doing it for the 100th time, it might be useful to have a system. So if we know that we're going to do this the next year as well, then why not invest in the system together? Because it's
we
more...
kind of do know that.
Yeah, so it's kind of, but it's just not how we're used to think, because we like to choose, like we like to like do our own thing, right? We're Norwegian people. We like to kind of figuring it out ourselves and find like a specific solution for our situation. But
Yeah.
so something in the middle, kind of.
All right.
We're getting on time here, Bjarte, but yeah. Do you have anything to add on, or should we just round off, take a break?
I think thanks so much for sharing this. It's very interesting, and I think it latches really well into Jake's talk about this gives us sort of a more practical, technical, systematically perspective on the whole thing. So I think it's really valuable. Thank you so much. I think we'll move into a 50-minute break, and then we're looking forward to hearing Dennis from Kiev at 11:15. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you.